So we were talking about VPC, if you remember. In the VPC, we were first trying to launch an EC2 instance. In this, we are going into security groups and we are trying to create new security groups. And we're giving all traffic and everything. So today we'll be covering something different. You can see my screen, right? Just seeing the AWS screen or which screen? Okay. Now let's say you are kind of like employed as an administrator in a company, okay? AWS administrator. In the company, they want to they're considering to move their infrastructure from on-premise to cloud, but they are having many doubts on the security, like how when transferring the data, will there be any kind of like security breach or anything, any kind of malicious attack on their data or something, or will they lose the integrity of the data. Now they are asking you to recommend a few security solutions, okay, in AWS that can uh, meet some criteria. Okay, now what kind of criteria they want is they want to kind of like add something or attach something to AWS, uh, where you are deploying or like where you are moving the whole uh, on-premise to cloud infrastructure. Okay, and they want to add some permissions for that so that only few people can access that particular resource. And the company also doesn't want to give long-term credentials to anyone. So if they are giving anyone an access to kind of like, let's say someone wants to, the company director, let's say he wants to give access to some software developers to a particular resource, but they don't want to give username password for long term. It should be for some temporary kind of like situation. So how will you do that? Okay. So these are the two objectives we are having. Now, how these can be done? That is the main thing for us. So if you remember, we were talking about like security groups in the start. So now let's just start from there itself and have a so if you remember, okay, we have an instance, right? So to access this instance, we will have what? What will be there? Security group. What this do? This try to give us information, or like they have some inbound rules. and they have some outbound rules, right? Inbound rules are for accessing the instance, and outbound rules are anything if it is going as a result outside the instance where they are going, right? Any doubt here? Hello? Hello, Brandon. Can you hear me? So now this whole thing, like there could be many instances. This whole thing is covered by a subnet. So a subnet can have many instances. Okay. Now these subnets are covered by the subnets are covered by your network ACLs. So the architecture is nothing but it's like this. You're having first an instance. Okay. Instance has security groups. Security group has subnet. Subnet has network ACL. Right. Now, what are there in security groups? What does security group do? Yeah. For the to the instance, it controls the traffic. So security groups can only be like they can only allow traffic. They cannot restrict any access or restrict any traffic. Okay. And you can change the security groups at any time. The what are network ACLs? So it manages the traffic from entering or leaving around the subnet. Okay. Now what is an ACL? So ACL is nothing but it's kind of like uh, when you are having some network. Okay. Someone joined. So it is nothing but access control list. Okay. ACL means. Just give me a second. I think someone joined. So ACL is nothing but net access control list, and this access control list has some rules, and these rules are ranked from lowest to highest according to their number. So this we have covered previously also. So what is an ACL? Access control list, right? Now access control list is having some rules, okay, and these rules are defined from lowest ranking to highest ranking. So if we are having rules of let's say 1 and 99, where one is allowing some IP address and 99 is disallowing it. If I'm giving both the rules, which rule will be given more priority? Yeah. So here I have wrote something. You can see that, right? So if can you see this? So if you are having two rules, 1 and 99, and one in the one rule one, we are like the same IP address is allowed, and in the rule 99 it is not allowed. Then which rule will be given more priority? Yes. And okay, one more. So see, now we are having these rules, right? Now even we have one more thing, okay, which is type. Now think of it, okay, whenever we are having rules, okay, why we will need type, and what is this type? What could be this type, Brandon? So we know there are different types, right? When we allow, we have HTTP, HTTPS, SSH, and recently we have seen NFS, right? So we have seen NFS where when connecting, when writing rules for EFS, right? And SSH we generally see. So these are the types. Now in these types, we also have something known as port, right? So why we need port? And what is actually the port? Yeah, so port is nothing but like the pipelines, right? So some pipelines are there in the network, let's like hypothetically, and you are connecting one pipeline to another pipeline. So if someone wants to connect to your EC2 instance, if that particular pipeline is open at both ends, then only they can connect. Otherwise, they cannot connect, right? So for example, uh, let's say you are trying to connect using your, let's say, Mac, and in your Mac you are having 9091 port open. Okay, and our EC2 instance is in an access control list where only 8089 port is open. But if this port is not open at your end, can you connect to this EC2 instance? So you have to open the port, right? So if this port and this port matches, then only it can connect, right? So port should be open apart from the type. Now, these pipelines can have different, like each HTTP or type, HTTP SSH can have different kinds of port. So HTTP has a range of ports assigned to it. HTTPS has a range of ports assigned to it. SSH has a range of ports assigned to it. The SSH, when we see, usually we see that there is 22 port. That is the port which is assigned to it. So like that, different ports are assigned to different types. Now, we are also having something known as in the network ACL only. Okay, the inbound only rules are there. Okay, and outbound only rules are also there. Okay, now it's again it's the same. What is inbound rules? Incoming connections to the EC2 instance, right? And outbound rules are nothing but external connections. Now, what is different in ACL is that ACL can both allow and deny the connections or traffic, but security groups can only allow the traffic. It cannot deny the traffic, right? Now, Brandon, can you tell me what is the difference between ACL and security groups now? Yeah, first difference. Second difference would be in the architecture, right? Security groups operate over the instance and network ACL operate over the, yeah. And and each security groups don't have any kind of like rules, right? Rule number one, rule number two. But network ACLs have the rules in the lowest ranking to highest ranking, where the lowest ranking is given the higher priority, right? Now, we have also studied we about few things known as IP address. What is an IP address? Yeah. So you can say it's an identification number for computers, okay? Uh, but what happens is that this IP address changes when you are changing your network. So there are two kinds of IP addresses. One is dynamic and one is static. Okay. Now we need not learn about dynamic and static, but we need to learn about private IP and public IP. Now, what is a private IP? So if you are in a subnet, okay, then only you can use private IP to connect to the instance. What does this mean? Private IP cannot be used to access an instance out of the subnet area, right? So for an example, let's say Canada is the subnet for an EC2 instance you created. Now I cannot access it using private IP from India because I am outside the subnet, right? Now, if I want to access this EC2 instance from India, what I have to do? Yeah, I can use a public IP, and if I want to use the private IP, then let's say our situation is like this, okay? We are having an EC2 instance which can only connect using 198.22.33, some random IP address, okay? And this address is assigned to every like system in Canada. Now, to connect, can I use an VPN which can give me the same IP address and connect, right? And the other way is to use a public IP. Public IP can be used to connect from anywhere. Okay. Now, one more thing, okay, is that we can, if we are having many instances in the same subnet, we can connect to all the subnets. Sorry, all the instances using the same IP. Now, we also have something known as elastic IP. Now, what is elastic IP? Elastic means it's flexible, right? Now, in AWS, we have a special IP address which you can create by yourself and assign it to instance. So you can create the IP address by yourself and you can assign it to the instance or to the whole account. So whenever you are creating any instance, you can just allocate that particular IP to the account. And whenever you don't want to have an elastic IP address, you can directly remove it. Now, what is the use of this elastic IP address? Clara? Yeah. Now, what is the disadvantage? Yeah, whenever you are using it, right? Now, one more thing is that it is easily hackable because you will be allotting everything a same IP address. The IP address will not change, so it might be vulnerable to attacks. So that is always a problem. Now, next concept is multiple IP addresses. Now, what is multiple IP addresses? Like you are having many addresses, many IPs attached to an instance. Now, can we have multiple IP addresses attached to an instance? Brandon?
Yeah.
Now, what will be the advantage if you are having multiple IP addresses? Clara,
Sorry, I didn't get that.
what are the advantages of having multiple IP addresses? Like why we need it?
Um, well, if you have multiple services, but should have their own IP address,
Okay.
and that also just allows for more network, I would say. Like if you have a larger,
But it will negate the elastic IP, right? Negate the concept of elastic IP. So actually multiple IP addresses is like if you are having a single EC2 instance and you are having many small websites or small applications in the EC2 server, okay, you can allot a different IP to each application, right? So if you're having the same IP address, what will happen? One IP address for 5 websites is not a good idea, right? You cannot just randomly give them one website once they are entering that IP and another website when they're entering the same IP. So for each IP, it should have a different website or application. So for that particular purpose, you can use it. Now, next one is so let's say due to some reason, your EC2 instance is not working on one IP, you can redirect to the next IP, right? So that you're not able to kind of like you're able to access it at least. So this is another one. Now, let's say you are using the EC2 instance and you are using it to spread, let's say, different types of data through the network. Now, for each type of data, you should have different IP address so that there is no mixing of data. So this is why we use multiple IP addresses. Now, till here it's clear.
Yeah.
So first instance, then on the instance security group is accessing, like operating on the security group. We are having a subnet which is operating, and over the subnet we are having network ACL. So can a security group have multiple instances? A single security group can have multiple instances.
Yeah.
Can a subnet have multiple instances and multiple security groups?
Yeah.
And can a network ACL have multiple subnets, multiple sub security groups, and multiple instances? So here the highest hierarchy is network ACL, right? Now, if I remove, sorry, if I don't have network ACL and subnet, can I have good security with only security groups over the instance?
No.
So is it always required to have a subnet?
If you're launching it with me,
Can we launch it outside the VPC in the AWS?
I don't believe so. I can.
So let's go to EC2 instance. Can you see my EC2 console?
Yeah.
Let's launch an instance. Let's name it EC2 one. Amazon Linux. Fine. Let's meet you. So we are always having what here? We are having a default subnet always, right? You cannot launch it outside the subnet.
Yeah.
Now, even there is an IP always assigned. Now, can we edit it? And can we go for no subnet option? No, right? You have to choose a subset, so subnet. And you, so you have to choose a VPC, you have to choose a subnet always. But if you disable auto assign public IP, what will happen?
We'll only have a private IP.
Yeah. Now, when will you use that? Whenever you want someone to connect only through a VPN which you have given to them, right? And after that, in the security groups, we are having rules. And this is the type we talked about. So we are having several types. Okay. And we have seen only few types like mostly HTTP, HTTPS, and NFS. So NFS we have used for file system security group. Now these all others are also there, which we will be learning in the uh, databases. When we are into databases, we will be learning about them. And apart from that, nothing is there on security. Right. Now, if you want to create a default VPC, how will you create it?
So instead of select select like select services, select
Okay. So let's say we are going for VPC. VPC management console is there, and in the VPC management console, we have create VPC option. Let's say we only want to create VPC. And we have to give some IPv4 and we have to create it, right? Now you are having IPv4 CIDR. Okay. So in a VPC, okay, actually what a VPC means. What is a VPC?
The virtual private cloud.
Yeah. What it does?
So basically, it's your private section in the cloud or in AWS, right?
Yeah.
So
So it's like your own private server, right? You, which is having your own rules. Can we say that?
yeah, that
Now, is VPC different from ACL, access control list? Is the VPC different from network access control list? Inside the VPC, right? Yeah. So now VPC is nothing but, as Clara mentioned, it is just a cloud. Okay. So it's like your own space. So here you can make your own rules, okay, on what will be entering, what will be going out, and everything. And this is the like high level network security you can get. So it's like your own network you're making. So you have your complete control over this. You can select which IP addresses can enter or what range of IP addresses can enter. You can create your own subnets here. You can have your own network gateways like security groups here and everything. So even you can have like which databases can be accessed, which databases cannot be accessed, and everything here. Okay. So VPC is nothing but it is the highest level of security you can have in the cloud. Now we have studied till network ACL, right? Now after this network ACL also, or network access control list also, we are having something which is known as router table. Now what is a router or router table? Clara?
it routes traffic
Yeah.
network in terms of like this. Hold on. Uh, at the subnet level, in terms of with like route traffic that for the like
Yeah. So what is a router table is that, so in very general terms, this is a table has some routes inside it. Okay, so you can predefine some routes inside the router table. Now, based on those routes, the whole, let's say, so this is the highest level, right? So based on what are the routes mentioned, the traffic will be going through all this based on the routes mentioned in the router table. Now in the router table, there are some set of rules, and these rules are called as routes. Now what this does is like, it actually determines whether the network traffic you are getting should be going inside or should not be going inside, or where it should be directed. So you can have several network ACLs, right? Again, now based on the router table, let's say one IP address might be directed to this network ACL, or again, some more IP address might be directed to other network ACLs. Okay, so like that, to route the traffic, we use the router table. So in a router table, okay, we are having main route, okay, which is the, like, which is a route you mentioned for some IP addresses, for some VIP IP addresses. Okay, so you want those IP addresses to go through this route only, and other IP addresses you might not care, so they will be routed based on the traffic you are getting. Now, till here it's clear.
Yes.
So in the router table, we are having few important things which we have to cover always. So first thing is main route table. Now, what is the main route table, Clara?
Not sure if there's a difference between a route table and a route table, but again, I would assume it's like the IP that would get into your subnet as well as direct traffic.
Uh, uh, yes. Actually, you are right. This is the default route table which you get with the VPC when you create a VPC. So this controls all the routing for all the subnets. Okay. So you might have several route tables, right? So this route table is responsible, okay, for all the subnets which are not included or which are not attached to any other route table. Okay. Now, whenever when you're creating a VPC, okay, you're creating a main route table all already. Okay. Now you might have, like, let's say router 1, router 2, router 3, like that, and router 1 is attached to 4, router 2 is attached, like, say you're having in total 20. You can just say we are having 20 subnets, okay, in the virtual cloud, and let's say router 1 is the one we have created, and it's taking, let's say, 10 subnets. Router 2 is taking 5 subnets. Then main router will be responsible for the ones which are not included in any of the routers we created. So it will be responsible for 5, right? So out of 20 subnets, if router 1 is taking 10 and router 2 is taking 5, main router is responsible for 5. Why? Hello, Brandon? So why main router is responsible for 5 here? So okay, again let's go over the definition of main route table. Main route table is nothing but it is a default route table. Okay, first thing, and second thing is that it is responsible for all the subnets which are not taken by any other subnets. Right? So only router like 15 subnets are taken by the other subnets. Sorry, other routers. That means only 5 are remaining which are being taken by main router, right?
Right.
So the definition itself is saying that whenever the subnets are not allotted any other route table, then the main route table comes into picture. Now we are having next is custom route table. Now what is the custom route table? This is the one we create, like router 1, router 2. So these are the custom route tables. Now next is destination IP. What is destination IP, Clara, in case of route table?
Destination IP is where you want to, like for example, you want to internet.
Yeah. So which IP? So when we are saying destination IP, in case of here, which instance IP you want to reach to, right?
Yes.
And what would be the target IP? Or what would be the target? Use of target here? Yeah. So destination is the final destination, like not the movie, but yeah. So like which instance it has to reach to. Okay. Now target is the gateway. So in the security groups, okay, you will be allowing some target IP addresses, right? So which security group it has to go to get to the required instance. Okay. So there is an application gateway between security groups and instance. So for that particular purpose, this target is used. Now, so till here, these are the simple like definitions which are required for you to understand what is a route table. Now, apart from the route table, what do you think more, like what more could be possible? Uh, Clara, is there anything higher than route table?
Sorry, Yannick, I was just a bit away from my computer.
Okay. So, higher than route table, there is any other hierarchy?
Higher than the route table.
Yeah.
Um, well, unless you're going outside of your range. Yeah.
Yeah.
More about route
Okay. There are routers, right? So all the traffic will reach the router, then it will be distributed to the router tables. Then what you will be having are two things. Okay. One is you'll have internet gateway, and the Other is virtual private gateway. Now, through internet gateway, through internet gateway, which IP addresses will be coming, and through virtual private gateway, which IP addresses will be coming? Brandon, through internet gateway, which IP addresses will access, and through virtual private gateway, which IP addresses will access? Yes, yes, yes. So from here, the all the traffic will come based on the router. It will be distributed to all the router tables, and based on the router table rules, it will be distributed to network ACL. Again, based on the network ACL, it could be distributed to different subnets, and then after the subnet, you'll have the security groups, and then security groups to, in the end, instance, right? So till here it's clear. Any doubt? So this is the route which a traffic follows to reach its destination. uh, Router, then we are having virtual private and internet. So you have to manage everything in each step so that your instance is as safe from data breach as possible. Right? Now, uh, so first let me give the homework, then we'll continue. So your homework will be to write 3 to 4 lines about the components of network. So you have to write about instance, security group, subnet, network ACL, router table, router, and the gateways. Okay. Any doubts with the homework? No doubts, right? Okay. Let's continue then. So we have talked about VPC, and we have seen like how, why, like what is the architecture of the whole network we are seeing. Now we will be learning about something known as VPC flow log. Clara, what is a VPC flow log?
That's just like activity for the basic like
Yeah. So it will be used for monitoring and logging, right?
yes,
And at which level it can be used?
kind of level,
Yeah, VPC level, comma, subnet level. So it is created for subnet or VPC, right? Or it can also be created for, there is a VPC flow log for instance. Can you use the VPC flow log for instance? You have to use it at subnet level or VPC level. You'll get information on instances. That's not the problem. But you cannot just use it only for instance. Now, one more thing is that this flow log, you can only activate it, and but if you want to view the flow log, okay, you have to use something known as VPC flow log. It publishes to, so we are having two things, okay. One is you can publish it to S3 or you can publish it to CloudWatch. Now we have already studied about S3. So in the S3, what happens is that whenever you are getting any log at the VPC level or subnet level, it will be made into a log file and it will be stored in the destination S3, whatever S3 bucket link you are giving. Now, what is CloudWatch? So before that, like before going into CloudWatch, let's complete uh, S3 because we have already studied about S3, right? So let's just complete that first. So we'll be seeing, okay, first, again, there is a hierarchy. Always there is a hierarchy, okay? So first we will be having AWS, okay? Then inside the AWS, what will be having? A region. Now inside the region, you'll have different VPCs. Now inside the VPC, you'll have different availability zones. Are you sure VPC will have availability zones or availability zones will have different VPCs? Clara?
I would say that's almost like a question. Because availability zone, uh, or a span across pretty much a zone. So I would say the zone as specific region, those available.
No, actually, availability zones comes under VPC, and we can see that actually when you are actually making the AWS instance, okay. So whenever we are making a new EC2 instance, so here if you go down, can you see my
Yeah.
if you go into edit, after this you have subnet which has different availability zones.
Okay.
So that's why, okay, which one I was using, yeah, availability zones come inside the VPC, and inside the availability zone what we will have? Subnet, and inside the subnet we'll have security groups and everything. For now, like those are low level architecture, so we'll just go for the instance, right? Now you will have private subnets, different subnets, right? And different availability zones, different VPCs, different regions. That is always there, right? And VPC log will be produced for each instance, okay. For each instance you'll have different security like subnets and everything. So For each of the instance, what you will be producing? A VPC log, and this will be stored in where? S3 bucket. So this is how the VPC log will operate, and we'll get information from each of this, then give you a log and store it in the S3 bucket. Okay, and here these logs are published every how many minutes? 5 minutes by default. So every 5 minutes you will be getting a log file in the S3 bucket. Any doubt till here? Now in this log file, what do you have? What will you have? Clara? Helen? So what do we require in the logs? And what we will get? Just IP addresses, right? So a log will contain the list of IP addresses within that 5 minutes. Other than that, we will not have any information we need, right? We are only getting from outside the IP address information, right? Brandon? Any doubt here? Now, this is the difference which you have to understand, okay? So now, in case of S3 bucket, instance and for instance VPC log is being published to S3 bucket, right? Now, in case of CloudWatch, okay, what happens is that for all the instances in that particular subnet, you are getting a VPC log. And here it's not a log file. There are log groups which are being produced. And one more thing here is that it's not published like 5 minutes, every 5 minutes. Okay, it's a stream. So it's a continuous publishing. Do you understand the VPC flow log difference between the CloudWatch and S3 bucket? Any doubts? There's no doubt, right? Clara, Helen? Okay. Now, let's see from the internet to the instance, okay, how everything is actually working. So, again, we have seen the flow, and this flow is very important. So, let's see more flows. So, now we are having the internet. Okay. Now from the internet, we are having, what will be the next one? Internet gateway, right? And internet gateway, what is the next thing is you'll get is VPC, right? Now from this VPC, you'll have what? Router, then you'll have different route tables. Now let's say we are having two route tables. Now in these route tables, what we define? Let's say we are having some IP addresses. And here we are having different IP addresses. Let's say 192.192. Now these are the IP addresses we are having. Okay. Now what these IP addresses should have in the route table? What is the component we are missing here for these to go to the next level? Yes. Yes. We need the destination, right? And this destination is important. Why? Because without destination they cannot reach to anywhere, right? So after route table, what is the next component we will have? Network ACLs. Yeah. So now in this network ACL, these IP addresses will pass first, right? Now after the network ACL, what we will have? Yes. And after the subnet, we'll have the, then to the instance, right? Now we can have IP address for this instance. We'll have some destination as one set. Now we'll just have the destination for this to be 182.58.8.1 and for this to be 192. Then this will reach the instance, right? Which is the destination for these IP addresses. Now, what will be the log produce? So if I'm having, let's say, uh, first we are having S3 bucket log. So in the S3 bucket, will we get two log files? Like let's say only 5 minutes has passed. Will we get two log files or one? Brandon, in the S3 bucket, if 5 minutes has passed, will I get two log files or one log file? Yes, because it gives you instance based log. Now for CloudWatch, for CloudWatch, we'll get one or two. Clara. So CloudWatch gives you a stream of log. So it doesn't operate for each instance, but it operates over all the instances in a subnet, or let's say in the particular VPC. So you'll get only a stream of log. So there is no time interval. You'll keep on getting the logs in the CloudWatch, right? So in the logs, what you'll have the IP addresses, right? That's it. Other than that, can you have anything else? Yeah. Infrastructure health is again different. So that is kind of like it is done by the health monitoring tools. Those are kind of like difference. And this log will only give you information on IP addresses. That's it. Okay. Now we'll be going into the. We are done with the VPC flow logs. Okay. So now in the new update of the AWS. Okay. So in the new update, the VPC flow logs. Okay, are also having some more kind of like uses and capabilities. So they are able to monitor information on how a user's network resources are operated. Okay. So if you are giving some network resources to some instance, okay, how they are operated in the AWS, those are also kind of like logged into VPC flow logs now. Okay. So they can monitor the traffic that is reaching a particular instance. Okay. And yeah, mostly like what is the traffic coming, what is the traffic going, these all things are monitored. Now when we call it a traffic, it is nothing but IP addresses again, so nothing more than that is published for the VPC blocks. Now, next thing, so we have to do I think we have to do how the CloudWatch is working. So let's go back to the EC2 instance. So to go into CloudWatch, just type CloudWatch in the EC2 console search bar. Take some time. So when you are seeing the CloudWatch, okay, uh, we have studied CloudWatch only with respect to the VPC. Other than that, it has other applications also. So for now, we will be only doing practical based on the EC2 instance and VPC. So first, let's create an EC2 instance. Let's launch the instance. Let's go to the instance. You can see the screen, right? Yeah, today AWS is little slow. Okay, now you can see it, right? Still there is latency.
So we can just
Now, what we need to do is, so we can do many things. Okay, first we can go to CloudWatch first. Okay, uh, why this is, and we can create a dashboard and click on create dashboard, and you can just say this is my EC2 one dashboard. You can see there are many ways to create the dashboard, right? So what we need here is, first thing is we have to create a widget. What is a widget? Widget is nothing but like these are already pre-built by AWS. So whenever you are clicking the logs table, now we also need some log group. So we are not having any log group. Why? Brandon, why we are not having any log group? Clara, Why we are not having any log group here? Yeah, in the CloudWatch log insights. Yes. So how will we enable it? Yeah, we have selected the instance. Okay.
Yeah. So there's a tab for monitor that's where you can set it up.
So this actually gives you the health of the instance and everything.
Oh,
So you have to go into network interfaces. So here you are seeing network interface ID and everything, right?
yeah.
Now we can select the interface we need. Then can you see uh, here you're having flow logs, right? This one. Here you can create a flow log. Again, we'll call it EC2 one flow log. Okay. So whichever traffic you want to capture. So if you want to log only accepted traffic or rejected traffic, it is up to us. And we can have maximum aggregation interval. We can have 1 minute or 10 minutes. So we can have 1 minute, 10 minutes. It's up to us. And here you can see destination. So if you want it in S3 bucket, what you'll do? You'll select into an S3 bucket, or we have only cloud. If you want to send it to only CloudWatch, you'll just send it to CloudWatch. Okay. Here is clear. Now we are having the destination group or log group. Now you have to specify some destination log group right here. So we can create a new log group, whatever we want. We'll call it EC2 one log, something like that. Okay. If it is already there, it will be published to that particular log group. If it is not there, AWS will create a new log group for us. Now we need to have some kind of like IAM, right? Identity access management. Now we have to create it. Then only we'll get the role, right? So what we'll do, we'll go into IAM. So we need to create a role. So for which we are creating the role, we are creating it for a AWS service, right? And we are creating it for EC2. Now we have to select the permission policies. Now what is the one we want to use it for? We want it for AWS CloudWatch, right? This is the policy we want to create. We want to put logs, or we want to create, right? So we want to create log group, create log stream, describe log groups. So CloudWatch agent, this one we need. Do we need this one? Yes.
So consider that
Yeah.
when it's about right instead of there was nothing but consider enable logging at the level.
Yes.
But say I created the but then example branded like consider the action. Would I be able to capture that activity or not at all?
So if you have deleted the instance, okay, then you will not get any activity, right? Your the destination is deleted, so everything will be rejected. So you might get the rejected logs for some time. If there is no destination, how will the IP addresses proceed in the route, right?
Oh,
Why this took me here when I have already selected two of them? So we have to give some role name, EC2 one role. We have added the permissions. Now we can create the roles. So we have created the roles successfully. Now we have to go to flow log and refresh. EC2 flow. We are taking all the traffic. We are 10 minutes into cloud bucket. What was the log group I created? EC2 log group, EC2 one role we have created. So we have different log formats. You can give a custom format also, but for custom format you have to kind of like say like what kind of format you want. This will be studying in the next class. So for now we'll be giving AWS default format. So till here it is clear, Brandon. Now we'll just create the flow log. So we have created the flow log now. Okay. What was the name I gave? Still it did not update. It needs to. So as of now, we are creating the flow log at network interface level. Okay, that's why we selected network interfaces. Now, if you want to create at other level, what will you do, Clara? So if you want to create at VPC level or subnet level, what will you do?
So you could create the same.
Yeah, if you go into again, same thing you have to do, but in the VPC. So in the VPC, I can just go into VPCs. Now select this flow logs. Again, you can create a flow log. You can just make your own EC2 VPC log or something like that. I can give an IAM role, which we have already created. Give the format and create flow log. Now this will create a flow log for your VPC. Now for subnets, again you can do the same thing. So you have these many subnets. You can go into subnet. Again, flow logs is there. You can just create the flow log. So again, it's the same format for all of them. Till here it's clear. Hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. So for today, let's stop here. Okay. Tomorrow we'll start with the CloudWatch and see the logs and everything. I think my AWS has crashed for some reason. Maybe I have to
Okay.
pay the bill or something like that. So so tomorrow let's continue. Okay. So today's video I'll be posting in maybe 1 hour. Then you can try all of the things we have done. Okay, and revise it. Then tomorrow we'll continue with the CloudWatch. Okay.
What was the homework again? Yeah.
So whatever the route we have seen, okay, you have to write 3 to 4 lines about that route. So we have seen the different flow charts, right? From AWS, then you are having the region, then you are having the VPC, then you are having uh, the availability zone, then you are having the subnet. So the whole thing you have to kind of like write for each of the component 3 to 4 lines on it.
Okay.
When Larry will be joining?
I can find out. I can find out and then revert
Okay,
direct.
okay, okay. Let's meet tomorrow at the same time. Okay. Tomorrow is correct only, right? Like so we'll be meeting on your Wednesday night, I think, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Then
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
bye.
Bye.